Hi, this is Rebecca Miskin from Night Owl, and you are listening to the Three Geeks Podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Three Geeks Podcast interview. Max is joining me here. Max, how are you?
I'm doing very well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. And joining us here this evening is Miss Lisa London. Lisa, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing absolutely great. How are you guys?
Doing well. Doing well.
It's going as well as it can be. Still stuck in the basement, but you know.
But that's by your own choosing, by the way.
Yeah, totally by my own choosing. I love it down here.
I love it.
So, Lisa, let's start off real quick with how did you get involved in acting?
Well, it's something I wanted to do from the moment I was born, literally. I mean, at 4 years old, I used to have my dad shoot these movies of me, but I would write them, I would star in them, and I was extremely specific on how I wanted them to look. Unlike this interview here that I'm doing in my own house without anything. But I never told anyone. I kept it a secret, really. I never did drama in school or anything like that. I kept it a secret until I had a huge, amazing thing happen where it was a combination of beginner's luck and absolute determination. I booked the female version of Animal House, and every starlet in this town wanted that role, and I got it. And that's how I got into it.
Cool. So was the female version of Animal House, was that like a off-Broadway type of play, or was it a film project?
It was a huge feature film. It's one of the biggest cult films of all time. It's called Hots.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I have to ask this question because while going through your resume, I saw that you have done and had some experience working with Canon Films. And yes. I love the documentary about Canon Films and just how crazy and off the wall and like renegade they were. Could you maybe share some of your experiences working with those guys?
Sure. Well, I've got some really great trivia about all that. First of all, that we were invited to the huge Writers Guild premiere of that documentary by Sam Furstenberg, who directed my husband and I in a couple of films that we starred in. One was called Motel Blue and the other one's called Agent of Death. And so we got to go to that documentary, and I didn't even know how much Menachem and his partner Globus, how much they changed the game of filmmaking. They were the first people to pre-sell films at the Cannes Film Festival, which is now like what everybody does. And I thought it was always like that, but it wasn't until these crazy Israeli dudes, that wanted to be big in Hollywood started doing this. So my first film for Canon was Happy Hooker Goes Hollywood, and that was their first American movie. They had already made a bunch of films in Europe and in Israel, but this was their first Hollywood film. And I got one of the leads in that, and it was big time premieres, big A-list movies, movie theaters and all of that. And I got to work with Chris Lemmon in that, and I met Jack Lemmon at the premiere, which is pretty amazing. And the director was Alan Roberts, who went on to be super famous. May he rest in peace, because he was such a doll to me. I mean, we remained friends for years. We went out on a sailboat all the time. My sister came with us. But he went on to be the person who shot that footage that started Benghazi, that whole Benghazi scandal. And when I realized that it was him, I'm like, oh my God, because this is a guy that never would have been in some kind of weird, controversial, crazy thing like that. But anyway, so that was a little bit of trivia. And then I have some funny trivia about when, well, I can just say it because the book's out now. I'm in a huge book. I'm in 2 volumes of the Canon Guide, which is a wonderful best-selling book that's out right now, and it's 3 volumes, and I'm in volume 1 and 2. And 1 was about Happy Hooker Goes Hollywood in the days when Canon were notorious for just stopping in the middle of production, paying people on time. And I, as only a 21-year-old could do, I went up to their offices, these gorgeous offices on Sunset, and I just started screaming and crying and demanding my check, and I got it. And after that, they me on time, and it was fine. And I went on then years later to do The Naked Cage, which was another great film for them. It was so ahead of its time, directed by Paul Nicholas, a German director. And just a couple of years ago, Quentin Tarantino refurbished the print and screened it at his theater that he owns on Beverly Boulevard here in LA. And it was a sold out crowd, insane Q&A. And it was really, at that time, it was a women's prison movie empowering women. And that was like way before #MeToo. And it was also so racially inclusive. And it was just really special. It was a great, proud moment.
Yeah, you know what? I remember hearing about that Tarantino was showing that film in his theater.
Yeah.
I remember reading about that because I think it was like there was a little bit of controversy behind it because of the film, but I remember reading about that. Yeah, awesome. While we're on kind of the topic of inclusivity and Me Too, what are some of the biggest changes you've seen in your career in Hollywood when it comes to technology or acceptance or behavior? Can you maybe shed a light on some of those?
Sure. Okay, so for me, you got to remember I started at 19 years old, and for a decade of my career, it was all about how I was raised. That was the only thing that protected me and gave me the strength to navigate Hollywood without any incidents. I mean, because I demanded respect, and I also had so many fabulous men protecting me and in my corner that would never have allowed that to happen too. But it was still, it could have gone one way or the other a lot of times. But the whole respect of a woman's boundaries and space, that's completely changed now. It's like night and day from how it was when I first started. And honestly, a lot of it too, I think it's just we're evolving as humans. And look, women didn't get the right to vote till so late, and we're still fighting to have abortion. Basically, on either side of the aisle, it's still, there's nothing about a man that women are telling a man that they can do with their body or not. It's just, it's a very strange, slippery slope when we're talking about equality, and yet a woman's body isn't hers the way a man's body is his. And I'm not even going political. I'm just saying that's a scientific and a factual reality of what's happening. So all of that has really evolved. As far as inclusivity, I've been so blessed. I grew up in a place where there's literally no such thing as prejudice. Now, I'm not talking about the systemic racism that's all over this country that we have to address, and we are addressing. And I think 90% of the people on the planet realize, and also 90% of Americans realize, this is a huge problem, and we all have to fix that. I have been in so many movies that you wouldn't know that there wasn't inclusivity, because there was every shade of person, every age of person. And that's just because I've been so blessed to work with some really amazing filmmakers that just do that automatically. They just love to paint every color. And also, I am not a blonde. I'm not a brunette. I'm a redhead that isn't even like one of your white redheads, right? So I always get kind of thrown in like to things that say exotic or unusual, because I have freckles. I have, psycho curly hair, like Rastafarian curly hair if I don't blow it dry. So I've always been, I can go so many different directions on what people perceive I am. I think that kind of makes me look at everyone like just one big gorgeous watercolor rainbow that I'm like, okay, if you're cool, if you can act, and if I love you, then you're going to be in whatever I do. And I hope vice versa. But I think we're evolving. I think it's better times than it ever has been.
That's really interesting to me too. But like you said, that your upbringing in your support group really stopped all that from happening too. So I guess a main lesson to learn is it's like, hey, if you're going to be in this business, make sure you've got the strength of character, but also some people who are in your corner, because like that should give you the confidence to demand the respect that you obviously deserve.
Absolutely. All of us, male, female,
yes.
black, white. It's like you have to set your own standards of what you will allow to happen to you. And that is also how you treat others also. Yeah. And I'm afraid civility is it's in pretty bad shape right now. And not just in this country, because I travel the world and I work all over the world, and it's in bad shape all over. But I think we are going to emerge stronger and better from all of this insanity. We have to.
Right. It just can't. It can't be like this for much longer.
We can't keep doing this. No.
But yeah, again, it's just recognizing that the people, everyone is a person, and every person deserves respect. So
absolutely.
But no, that's really cool that you noticed that from the beginning you had an edge, I guess, on some people, just because, hey, I don't, I'm only going to do what I'm comfortable doing, and
absolutely,
that's really cool.
I grew up with a sportscaster father, so he treated his 3 daughters. I have a brother, but he came way later, and he treated us like we were like dudes. And it's like we do not get pushed over or pushed around easily. And I know more about sports than most guys. So
you beat me to one of my questions. I was going to say, you have a famous father who's done lots of sports broadcasting. In fact, didn't you dabble a little bit in it too?
Yes, I did. I actually, in high school, I had interviews with all the major tennis players in the world, from Ilie Nastase to Jimmy Connors to Rod Laver to Bjorn Borg, who I got this huge scoop, and my interview was sold to CBS International Radio, and I was 16 years old, and everyone was like, how did this kid get this? Well, hello, he was only like 17 or 18, so he asked me out, and he thought it was like I was going out with him, and I all of a sudden whipped out my little tape recorder and started asking questions, and I got this great scoop. So
guerrilla interview, that's how you got to do it.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I think we've all done that, haven't we, Max?
Yeah, totally.
Right.
I get asked out on dates all the time.
Doing it to me now. I don't have any makeup or any.
Well, anywho, so what sports do you like?
Oh my God, everything. I mean, football. Really? If I was a guy, I'd be a football player in 5 seconds. But I love baseball. I love hockey. I love kite. I love riding bikes. I've hang glided. I love sports. I love soccer. I love badminton.
I love Olympic badminton.
I love it all.
Olympic badminton.
And I am a mean tennis. I wouldn't even call it ping pong. That's how good I am. I can beat any guy.
Oh, I'll have to take you on some table tennis. I come from a long line of table tennis players. We're not famous,
but have to do it. Yeah.
and Max is ultra competitive too. I'll just throw that out there.
Only at table tennis and Mario Kart. Well, I'm not good at much.
All right. Well, Lisa, I also have to ask this question because of who's involved in this question. Samurai Cop 2.
Yes.
I've seen it, and it stars one of our favorites on this podcast, Tommy Wiseau.
I know.
Please enlighten us with some great stories of Tommy.
And that scene I have with him where I'm supposed to be embalmed and dead, but I think I'm coming back if we ever make another sequel to it. So I don't know how that's gonna work. But anyway, I'm supposed to be dead and not move. Acting I've ever hard. I thought I literally was going to lose it at any moment because he was so wonderfully, bizarrely black humor funny. That was a thrill to make. And I had no idea that movie was going to be such a huge hit because it was a huge commercial hit. And you just never know. That's the wonder of doing what we do. You know, every once in a while, something will surprise you and just be a total blast doing it, and then it'll have success and wheels for life.
So that, like, I mean, because if you're doing a movie, it's called Samurai Cop 2. You're like, okay, this is utterly absurd. You know, like,
Right.
yeah, you have fun on set, but you don't know, you know, like what when it's all said and done, like what you have. Like, has there been any times where you're like, this is it for sure, and you're
And it in movie theaters premieres, and the red carpet was amazing, and there were tons of celebs there, and it was just like this, you know, great Hollywood event. And the response of the audience, every single person was laughing out loud. And that's what you try to do when you're making a comedy, and a spoof too. And it's one of the best spoofs I've ever seen. And I mean, my role was written for a man. I was supposed to, initially I was going to be playing this crime lord's trophy wife. And the actor that was supposed to do it got very ill, and the wonderful director Gregory Hatanaka, he said, "Oh, you'll just be the boss." And I'm like, "But it's a man." "Oh, it doesn't matter." And there you have it. And my death scene's one of my favorite things I've ever done in my life.
who were we talking to? Larry Hankin said everyone wants to do a death scene, and everyone wants to be
I've done a lot, but this one was really special. This one was really fun. To get shot up by Ling and get to do my own squib in my mouth so I could control when I spurt the blood. Come on. How many girls get to do that?
And you've worked a lot with Gregory, because I've seen that.
Yes.
You know,
and
how did you form that relationship?
he actually, I was in a cold reading class, a wonderful actor coach named Sal Landy, and Greg came to the class, and he okay, I'm just going to confide in you guys. My husband is on the phone to the IRS right now because there's this insanity with our refund where they think he's not him. They think there might be fraud getting our refund. What? And we never get refunds. This is like basically his own money coming back to us now for an overpayment, but it's a lot of money. So if you hear someone in the background, don't get mad, because dealing with the IRS.
I know the IRS hates giving up money, so good luck to you guys.
We will get it. Trust me. Okay, so back to how I met Greg. So I was in this Sal Landy's class, who had done a couple movies with Greg, and he told Gregory that I was a great actress and that he had other great actors in his class and to come check it out. And he did. And then Gregory cast me in a film called Darling Nikki that ran into tons of complications, so it's not out yet, but it's coming out. But since then, I have done a ton of films for Greg, Samurai Cop 2, and we've got a bunch all streaming right now on Amazon Prime and Tubi and Vimeo. There's Choke, which I also co-produced, and I'm really proud of that. There is Body of Night, which is a really cool kind of edgier new version of 50 Shades of Grey. There is Heartbeat, which is a film noir. There is Acrylic, a fabulous comedy, and Quarantine Girl, that is about the mental issues that people are having in the time of COVID. Really proud of that. And I'm getting ready to do another one called Tokyo Decadence in LA that Rich Mallory is directing, which is someone who works with Gregory a lot. And he directed me in Holy Terror, which is also on Amazon Prime. And then after that, I'm doing something and that's with Gregory at the helm again. So yeah, I'm working like crazy and thanking God, totally blessed every minute of it.
That's really cool.
I do have sorry, Max. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was gonna say, how has your experience been with like the streaming services now? Like, it's a little different where you make a movie and it's like, okay, well, there's definitely a spot where it's going to, and people are gonna see it. Is that like better or worse? Like, do you enjoy this a little more?
It's bittersweet. I mean, of course, there's nothing like when your movie premieres in the theater. A lot of mine were supposed to, and it's all lead roles, so I didn't get that experience in the red carpet. But I'm getting seen by so many people that wouldn't ordinarily see my work. So one thing keeps leading to another, which is very cool, and I'm very happy about it.
If I could ask about Quarantine Girl for a moment, because I know that the research that I saw, it came out in 2020, obviously. How close was it?
It just came out, yeah.
So was filming, were you real close to the deadline before things started shutting down, or like?
It was actually when things first shut down. Brilliant idea to do it almost like kind of Zoom meetings, kind of is how it's set up. And also all my scenes where I'm broadcasting the news were done on green screen. So I was the only actor on the set, and all the protective rules were done. And then I'm not going to give the plot away, but then all my other scenes in the movie were done in my own home, where they dropped off lighting and instructed me on what to wear and how to do my makeup and blah, 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 and how to set up the lights and all that. So that was really cool. And then I just shot a movie with David Dakota, another movie for Lifetime. Can't give out any details yet, but that was like in the thick of things when it just reopened. And that was with all the full protocol where I had to get COVID tested and all that stuff. But it was really cool getting COVID tested and hearing that I was negative. I was never so happy to be called negative in my life. So yeah,
brain tickle.
That's they actually did the mouth swab thing, but a really intense one. So yeah. But anyway, that's our new normal, and all the big studios are opening up in October, and the beat goes on. Hopefully it will keep going on and not have to shut down again.
Yeah, I feel like if Hollywood can manage to even turn a little bit during this, like there's nothing stopping them. Like that's the machine is too big to let it go down right now. Like that's
yes,
that's
and also I mean, sports is giving us all hope. I mean, everyone's doing it well there too. So.
Yeah,
and I flew for the first time. I love to fly. I'm never scared to fly, but I was, kind of freaked out, like what it's going to be like. And I felt totally safe. Everyone was kept very safe, and it's spotlessly clean. And, you just got to keep just doing the best you can.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we can't. Recently, they opened up the theaters, around me. So
where are you?
We're at Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, that's where I flew to Cleveland. Yeah.
All right. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry you had to go to Cleveland.
I loved it. My sister just moved there. We had a ball. Oh man, took him to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for her birthday. It was pretty cool. Yeah,
I do love the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's pretty boss. But yeah, it's like I was afraid to go to the theaters, but again, it's something that like, hey, they're doing the right things as long as everyone's doing the safe things, like. Things can happen, so I am excited to see everything pick up as much as they can, and I'm surprised that you don't see more just bubbles for movie productions. Though. Like I mean, after the NBA and NHL have kind of proven you can do it, it's
they're doing it on extremely big budget films. It's almost impossible for them to do that. They just can't. I mean, they don't have the money to protect everyone and enclose everyone and. That's just the truth right now. I'm so blessed that the low budgets I do have been so innovative and ways to keep shooting.
And that's the other thing too about a lower budget. Like when people are forced to think outside the box, sometimes you just get something that's just amazing and exceptional.
That's Quarantine Girl. Quarantine Girl is. I'm so proud of it. I can't wait for you guys to see it, and please spread the word because it is a very special little film. It's really good. We're getting great reviews, and it was a to-be pick and all that stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Lisa, I got one more question for you, and then we'll let you plug social media and where everybody can find you, keep tabs on you.
Cool.
If you had the opportunity to pick a dream role, what role would you pick?
Oh wow. Oh gosh. As long as it showed I have a photo bomber back there. As long as I could show what is my forte, which I think is I have an innocence about how I come across when I'm revealing emotion that I am so grateful has never diminished or gone away with me, because a lot of people lose the inner child inside, or the ability to be an optimist. And as long as I could show that in when it's a good thing and when it's a dangerous thing, I think that's when I'm allowed to do my best as an actress. And I've been so lucky. A lot of the roles I've been doing lately have a little bit of those elements in it. As far as like some, a past role that I've seen, when I kind of go past that, and it's whatever's written for me that becomes something that is extremely special. I was nominated for Best Actress for the New York International Film Festival, which is a really big deal, for a short. And all the other shorts were like $100,000 or more behind these little shorts. And the one I did was just a few grand that a wonderful writer, director, Anna Simone Scott, put together. And I love my role in that. And I think that showcases what I can do, because it's everything. It's from, what's heart-wrenching about it and doesn't realize how the world's attacking them, and yet is resilient and strong in a certain way as well. And it was a Black comedy. So I love those roles where it's equal amounts of crying and laughter involved in how you're looking at the character and the story. And that's called Finding Mama, and that's on Amazon Prime now too.
Well, everybody needs to check out all of your great films.
Thank you.
Let everybody know, where can they find you online, social media wise, if you want to plug those movies one more time and tell us where we can find them and everything.
Sure. Well, on Amazon Prime and Tubi TV, basically put in my name, Lisa London, all my stuff comes up. But I've also got Nearly Departed on which is a wonderful with Bobby Carradine, and that's on Amazon Prime as well. And you can go to the IMDb, which is the internet database, getting ready to be produced or just came out and all that stuff. And on Facebook, I'm Lisa London Fan is my page. And I also have another page on Facebook. It's the Pinups Live, because in Lisa London LA. And you can also get a hold of me on Cameo if you want a personalized video as well.
Cool. Well, Lisa, thank you so very much for taking some time out of your day to sit down and chat with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and again, we apologize for the last minute nature of the call, but thank you so much.
I'm actually, I don't look bad, so I'm
no, you look great.
Yes, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
All right,
guys. Peace out. Have a great rest.
Have a good one, Lisa. Stay safe.